Today we're going to make my favorite, bread, specifically Hokkaido milk bread. I've been trying this tangzhong method. Basically, it involves creating this watery mixture that goes into the dough, and it improves bread texture and prevents it from going stale too quickly. I honestly can't tell the difference since we store bread in the fridge to increase its lifespan anyway. Plus, it's been kind of tricky to get a hang of, and my dough has always been too sticky. I think it's due to the humidity here in New York, so I think I'll just keep making this bread the simpler way instead. I'll put the simple version of this recipe in the description box below for those who want to try it out. I typically try to make my own bread flour by adjusting the gluten content in all-purpose flour, but I was pressed for time and it actually turned out just fine with regular flour. Then in the mixing bowl, add your whole milk, your egg, make sure to whisk it up a little bit so it disperses evenly, sugar, flour, salt, and your dry milk powder for that extra milky flavor, and of course don't forget the yeast. Take a pastry card and start roughly mixing everything together. Then put the bowl in the stand mixer, snap on the hook attachment, and turn it on to stir. Once it's relatively mixed, add the softened butter and then knead for a total of 15 to 20 minutes. Once it's done, you have to let it go through its first rise. Cover the dough with a plastic bag, or in my case, use a plastic L'Occitane branded shower cap from the last hotel I stayed at. The elastic helps to hold it in place, and plus it's see-through, so you can easily check the progress. I placed the dough in my oven with the light on for about 20 to 30 minutes to let the yeast start its job, and then I moved it to my fridge for a slow rise. I planned it out this way because I had to run to Manhattan for some appointments in the middle of the day, and by the time I got home, the bread was perfectly risen. There were no air bubbles, and the dough didn't collapse when I bullied it either. Next, you have to divide the dough into 2 equal parts, one for each loaf pan, and then each half into thirds. Once you have your dough sectioned off, take your first section and knead it out a little bit more. Then flatten it, roll it up into I guess a roll, and then turn it again, flatten it out, roll it up one more time. At this final stage, you tuck in the sides so it doesn't look like a chunky little rectangle croissant with tiny feet. Then you can place it into the bread pan. Now that the dough is all nice and rolled up, it's time for the second rise. Put the clear shower cap or the bag back on both pans and let them sit in the oven with the light on the whole time. It doesn't have to go back in the fridge because you're not doing a slow rise. You always want at least one rise at room temperature. I usually prefer to do the second rise at room temp, also because the second rise generally goes a lot faster than the first. In the meantime, while waiting for the dough to rise, I decided to make a little snack. Kevin's mom had brought us a single bag of plain Cheerios. I personally prefer snacking on honey nuts, so I needed to do something fun with these. I found a recipe online and decided to try it out. Heat a 1/3 cup of honey, 1/2 cup of almond butter, or any nut butter of your choice on low-medium heat and mix well until combined. Then add a 1/4 cup of your flaxseed meal and mix until it's smooth. Then transfer your mixture into a large heat-proof bowl and add in your 3 cups of plain Cheerios. Work quickly, mix it up because the honey mixture cools fast and becomes very difficult to mix evenly with the cereal. In an 8x8 baking dish, pour in the Cheerio mixture and flatten it out, pressing evenly with your spatula or your hands. Now we're going to make the dark chocolate drizzle. Take a 1/4 teaspoon of coconut oil and a 1/4 cup of dark chocolate chips. Of course, snack on some of the chocolate chips too. Then heat it in the microwave in short increments until it's all melted. Drizzle the chocolate evenly over the Cheerio bed and sprinkle some sea salt. I unfortunately forgot to add the sea salt, so I'm gonna have to make it again. Then put it in the freezer for about 10 to 15 minutes to let the chocolate solidify before chopping it up. I was really struggling with this, and I quickly realized I needed to let it defrost before attempting again. And when you're done, you can bag it up and even take a little bite if you wish. These are perfect little energy bites for on the go, and I always had them with me during Fashion Week in case I didn't have time to eat a full meal. Also to share, because sharing is caring. All right, she has risen. Preheat the oven and check the dough. Once the dough was about 3/4 of the way up to the top of the pans, I put the lids on. There should be slight resistance when you slide the lids back. That's how you know the dough is ready to be baked. Then set your timer for 30 minutes. And once it's done, take the bread pans out. Remove the lids to let the bread cool first for about 10 minutes in the pans, and then take them out. I waited until the next morning to record this last part because the lighting was just so much better. And it was nearly 10:30, 11 o'clock at night by the time the bread was done, and I was ready to go to bed. Well, that's all I've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed watching, and if you liked it, please hit the like and maybe the subscribe button too. I would greatly appreciate it. See you next time. Come here. Come. What is this? Sit. Gentle speak. Speak. Oh, good girl. Thanks. Is that yummy? Did you like that? Alright, you ready to go walkies?